Okay, so the last time we checked in with you here on Walk On, Liverpool had just qualified for the group stage of the Champions League, comfortably beating Hoffenheim, and we were awaiting the draw. Andrei Shevchenko did us another favor and pulled us into Group E, so we avoided Real Madrid and Dortmund. I feel we have a little bit of a Leicester City situation here with the Russian champions Spartak Moscow in our group, who won the Russian league last year and are struggling in their title defense this season, currently sitting in 8th place. So they could have it all to give in the Champions League, but I've watched a little bit of their videos from last year on YouTube, and I don't think they have enough to compete with Liverpool. They really just don't have the talent. I'm sorry. But if Liverpool don't finish past Spartak, it will be a major failure, really. I don't think Jurgen Klopp is going to let it happen, even if players are missing. I'll have more on Spartak on a later show when we get closer to playing them, though. But I'm going to get to the big news, which is Sadio Mane's red card and subsequent suspension. After the high of our nice Champions League draw and subsequent 4-0 drubbing of a shambolic Arsene Wenger side. I mean, it was cool beating Arsenal, but Arsenal were just trash that day. We did great to punish them for their mistakes, and Mane's goal was brilliant, but I really felt that was no real litmus test at all for what's to come this season. So on comes Manchester City, a team that Liverpool beat twice last season and have beaten handily in recent times, with the exception of the League Cup final 2 years ago, but it was obviously a tough test to start the season for two teams who consider themselves title challengers. First question, was it a red card? Technically, yes. It is a red card, according to the rules of football. Mane took a very large risk and put his opponent in danger. The fact is that he did catch him with a high boot, and it's a red. But as we all know, football rules, as many rules are in life even, and laws, are just subjective. A presiding judge in the courts may let someone off with a lighter sentence if he got laid that morning, you know what I'm saying? But the ref didn't have to give him a red card. It doesn't help that the keeper had to go off injured, especially with the suspension appeal, but the ref could have let it go since it was so close. In my opinion, the rule should be altered because both players were going for a 50-50 ball and the Man City keeper willingly entered a dangerous situation. So I wish that rule was appended, not just because it cost us in this situation, but just because I feel there is an inherent physicality to the sport and players should accept the physical risk jumping into a situation where somebody wants to fight them for the ball. Regardless, no team should lose 5-0 ever. But after such a jarring call, it's understandable that Liverpool would rather fight to come back than just sit back for a face-saving scoreline. If you want to know my analysis of what happened, Liverpool are a supremely confident team. I know for a fact that Liverpool considered themselves the best team in the league last year. Consider the period of the season up until December 31st, before the Coutinho injury, before Mane left for the African Nations Cup. Liverpool were up there challenging for the league, and they were very rarely behind. I remember them falling behind to Swansea and Wales early in the season and patiently fighting back for a hard-fought 2-1 win. And of course, there was the weird early season loss to Burnley and the freak 4-3 loss to Bournemouth. But for the most part, Liverpool were a team that were very rarely even behind and just expected to be dominant against every team. You know where I saw this same type of frustration with Liverpool when they struggled to dominate was against Sunderland last season, November 26th. They were struggling to break down a stubborn Sunderland side, headed for relegation, battling hard for a point, and Philippe Coutinho had one of those 50-50 moments where he tried so hard to get the ball into the net and he injured himself. So I'm starting to see that this is a pattern with this team when they struggle, that they get impatient and take unnecessary risks in order to quickly turn the tide, when really patience would be the more appropriate approach. There was plenty of time left in this game, and Sadio Mane needs to understand that he is too important to this team, that it's almost not worth the risk. No, not almost. It's not worth the risk. We had to learn that by experience because obviously losing Mane ruined us and it's going to hurt us not having him for 3 games. Hindsight is 2020 and obviously we would all love to go back to the 25th minute down 1-0 with 11 players on the pitch. But Liverpool go at all these games at 100 miles an hour, and sometimes it's hard for them to control themselves, especially with the added emotion of falling behind and taking a blow to their ego. But they need to understand that it's a 90-minute game and opportunities will come. It was a great game up until that red card. The pace of both teams was blistering. Man City was up to the task defensively, although we looked potent. A major talking point should be Ragnar Klavan being involved in conceding the opener for City when both teams had a full complement. As much crap as Lovren has gotten for his shaky start to the season, Klavan is worse, and hopefully he will take no part in the Champions League games this year. That's all I have for you today. Sevilla tomorrow at Anfield. The cop will be there to guide the players through a new chapter of European football. But Liverpool fans, more than anyone, should know that we're in for a tough task. There's been a lot of turnover in Sevilla's squad since they beat us in the Europa League final 2 seasons ago. But we might see some familiar faces in defense. Ever Banega, Sergio Escudero. But there's plenty of new faces to look out for. Jesus Navas and Nolito are new in this season from Man City's leftover of their embarrassment of riches. They signed Ganso, a Brazilian dude from Sao Paulo mid-season last year that they've been using. And Wissam Ben Yedder is a French dude, another player to look out for. For now, it's time to put our Premier League struggles behind us and embark on this new adventure. And I'm sorry to say it, and I don't want to hear that I'm not a real Liverpool fan for saying this, but we never had a chance at the Premier League this season. We hardly added any depth over the summer. It's just not going to happen. With the Champions League, I don't care what anyone says, but I think we have a legit crack at this. Let's do it again.
Lord.